Over the last season, we've seen a lot of episodes that have introduced new villains and new characters to the storyline of Batman the Animated Series, but it's with the season opener of Season 2 that we introduce Batgirl, and we're talking about it as we talk about Shadow of the Bat, Part 1 and 2, right now. That's right, it is the Season 2 opener of Batman the Animated Series, and if you're a big fan of Batman like me, because you grew up on Batman the Animated Series like me, then this is the show for you. We talk about each and every episode of Batman the Animated Series and break them down episode by episode. And today, we're talking about Shadow of the Bat, Part 1 and 2, which was the first 2 episodes of Season 2. Now, this really kicks off the season, right? And we're going to talk all about it right after our 60-second Joker Bomb rundown, which I have no hope of finishing because this is a 2-parter, and there's a lot there. But here we go anyway. There's a new assistant to Commissioner Gordon named Gil, and it seems that he's doing some great work being ahead of the mob and being able to capture and put a lot of them in jail because he knows when and where they're about to strike, and everybody's giving him great accolades for this until he ends up showing up at Commissioner Gordon's house to arrest Commissioner Gordon for taking bribes. They have this evidence. They don't give him a bail because they're afraid that he's going to flight risk because he has some evidence that he has tickets and that is part of the bribery. So they, some of the police officers, including Gil, decide to hold this benefit in front of the police headquarters to try to get the judge to reconsider his order to not give Commissioner Gordon bail. Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon's daughter, goes to Batman and says, hey, listen, you got to show up because if you do, then everybody's gonna get behind you. He goes, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I got to do real detective work to find out who's trying to frame Commissioner Gordon. So he goes off as Matches Malloy, his alter ego, undercover to try to learn what's going on. Meanwhile, Barbara decides that she's going to dress up like Batman and go to the benefit so that they can see him there. Before Bruce Wayne leaves, he tells Robin, why don't you go to the benefit and you make an appearance and then that'll rally the support. Robin goes there and he sees Batgirl, or what he thinks is Batman, showing up and makes her appearance, and then she sees that the car is about to drive by that shoots up the stage, and so she pulls out the shoulder pads and the lifts and goes after them. Robin helps and they are able to help each other out, but he says, listen, you can't do this anymore, it's not safe. Meanwhile, Batman, Matches Malloy, follows these leads and ends up at Two-Face's headquarters. It's the building with the two halves. And he climbs up there, gets shocked, and they capture him. They're trying to figure out who he is. Now, in Part 2, Barbara learns that that Gil has been guilty because she sees the guy that she captured at the rally is also at Gil's house. Now, Gil doesn't know that she's Batgirl, of course. And so she is now looking into this and goes to his house to surveillance, which is also where Robin is, because he saw that in the camera, Gil ducked before everybody else did. And so they both know, and now they're working together, kind of, but he says, I'll take it from here. And he goes off to the subway where he is at, where he was told to meet up with Two-Face, because they listened on a phone call. They go there, they find matches, and Barbara Gordon trips over some of the thugs that Robin had captured, and there's a big tussle, and the gang gets away. And then now they start flooding this subway hole, and then Batgirl escapes, and Batman and Robin are trapped in the subway car, and they finally wreck that, drive the subway car underwater and are able to get away. And then they get up there and they capture Two-Face, and Barbara captures Gil, although he does see her secret identity, and he gets knocked unconscious. And then they think that now Commissioner Gordon's is all cleared of his crimes, and Batman and Robin, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are talking that, well, maybe we'll see more of Barbara Gordon, or more of Batgirl, and Barbara Gordon standing there going, I bet you will. Wow. That's a mouthful.
Don't you just love it when he gives them to you gift wrap?
I think it was a great idea to start off Season 2 after a little bit of a break with this 2-parter. Now, of course, we're now, as I mentioned before, we're not doing these episodes on the 25th anniversary of I'm still talking fast. I can slow down now. The timer's off. No bombs. But we are no longer doing the episodes on the 25th anniversary, because that would mean that we would have to wait till September to watch this season opener.
You'll ruin your eyes changing channels so fast, Master Bruce.
I think it was a great idea to kind of hit the ground running, offer up another two-parter to kind of get us back into the world of Batman and to give us something extra. Now we have season 2, we bring in Batgirl, who is a favorite of a lot of people. I always liked Batgirl. She's a great character. One of the things I really enjoy about Batgirl is she does it all on her own. You know, all of the Robins trained with Batman. He had to accept them and bring them under his wing and decides to take them on as sidekicks. And Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, just kind of says, forget it, I'm doing it on my own and with or without your help. And kind of dons the cape and cowl like Batman and follows suit. That's one of the things I always liked about Batgirl is that she's doing it anyway. And she doesn't need Batman's permission. She just is believes in what she's fighting for and goes after it.
And if Batman's not around...
And like most two-parters, this is a really strong episode. And there's so much more in this episode that I didn't realize until I watched it back now.
No kidding. Why do we gotta do this stuff in the middle of flipping night?
So it's obvious that this is a vehicle to introduce Batgirl. And we've done that in past with some of the villains where we use this as an opportunity to introduce the characters. Sometimes it seems like the focus or the reason for doing the episode overshadows the story, if that makes any sense. Case in point, I've got Batman in my basement, which is really the vehicle of that story of that episode, is to show Sherman as a junior detective and having to help Batman out. And then in the process, they kind of throw away the plot with the Penguin and all that. But it's like this episode it wasn't just, okay, we need to introduce Batgirl. What can we have her do? But the plot is really well constructed where the only way to tell this story is to introduce Batgirl. I hope that makes sense because the plot of having Commissioner Gordon being framed...
James Gordon, I have a warrant for your arrest.
...and having to try to clear his name and Batman being kind of taken off out of the equation by being captured as Matches Malloy.
Good heads you live, bad heads you don't. Simple, huh?
Is the reason that Barbara Gordon kind of steps up and kind of eases into it. First, it's just she wants to make a public appearance.
And the crowd goes wild.
And then it's, well, I might as well just keep going with this. And I love that because it is a story that is motivated by the premise. I think that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, but in my head it makes sense.
You're lucky you didn't get killed.
Come on, they're getting away.
This is nuts.
And there's just some great layers to this episode. One, we get to see a little bit more about Commissioner Gordon. Again, a really strong character that sometimes in the episodes is just kind of thrown away. Okay, we need to have Batman make contact with the police department to share evidence. So we see Commissioner Gordon for that one scene. And then Commissioner Gordon makes some quip about how he hates how Batman leaves without telling him. And then he's gone. But this episode, we really get to see more of Commissioner Gordon. We get to obviously see into his personal life because we see his relationship with his daughter, with Barbara Gordon.
And he's not bad looking either.
Dad.
And it's a great mystery. It's one of those mysteries where we as an audience don't know what's going on. And even if you do suspect that Gil's behind this somehow, he's the one that decides to throw this rally. So we spent a lot of the first part not sure what's going on. Is Gordon crooked, or is he or is somebody trying to frame him? And everybody's going at it from different areas. Barbara Gordon is trying to be front facing and trying to be behind with this rally and getting Batman to do that. Batman goes undercover and says, let's go at it from that angle and see if, as Matches Malloy, I can get some information. And Robin is out, doing the whole crime fighting thing. So we've got all these kind of different fronts going on at the same time. And so it really packs a lot into these episodes.
I don't remember a Batgirl in our little club.
And then when we find out that Two-Face is behind all of this or is part of this solution, to me, this version of Two-Face kind of harkens back to his original, the two-parter Two-Face episode, where he's a formidable threat.
Assuming I let you live to join my gang.
And we really haven't seen Two-Face since his introductory two-parter episode, other than the couple of the group episodes, The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne and Almost Got Him. And we see him pop up a couple of times in little cameos at Arkham. But this is really the first time that we've seen him truly as a villain. Even it's arguably in the two-parter, he was still hanging on to a little bit of Harvey Dent and was becoming a villain. Now he's devised this plot to take hold of the underworld of Gotham. And he's a great villain. We see him with the darker side of him with the coin. And so, again, they didn't throw away the villain or just throw in the Penguin just as a filler for the villain while we introduce Batgirl. That I really appreciate about these episodes.
I should have known it would be Two-Face. It's a perfect two-part plan. He consolidates the gangs while Mason takes over the police.
What he said about the commissioner. Will he?
You saw him flip his coin. It's judge, jury, and executioner.
Incidentally, a little trivia for you. Two-Face happens to be the only villain that is featured in more than one two-parter. And it happens to be in two two-parters. Coincidence? I think not.
Don't call me that. It's Two-Face to you, pretty boy.
Now, I do have to say that even though there was a lot packed into this episode, it did feel like the pacing was, I don't want to say a little slow, but it felt like they kind of allowed some breathing room in the pacing. They did a little bit more with the establishing shots, a little bit more with the introducing the scenes. It didn't bother me, but it was noticeable that there was a little bit of a different pacing in this. Again, not that it was slow, just there was some more breathing room in there.
Yes. Am I glad to see you?
Do you mind?
Sorry.
I do have to say, too, the whole subway scene, once the action part of the subway scene, the music that played in there was very reminiscent of the 60s Batman show. A little jazzier, a little funky. It was fun. I enjoyed that.
Robin, look out! Robin.
So when it comes time to rank this episode, I was really impressed with it. I really enjoyed this episode. Again, it's one that I remember watching when I was younger. I don't remember it being two parts. I don't remember seeing one or the other. It all kind of melded together for me, the different items. But watching it back now, there is so much more to these episodes. Honestly, there's more that I could talk about, but I kind of picked some of the highlights of the episode to keep this episode tight. So again, as I look through the list as a place to rank this, there's so many good episodes. I wish that I could fit 20 episodes in the top 10, and I just can't. This one I ended up placing at the number 14 spot of my favorite episodes. I kept trying to bump it up there higher, but it just couldn't quite get over Christmas with the Joker, because that one is such a fun, inventive episode, and I think because it takes place at Christmas, it's got a lot of nostalgic feelings with that. I remember watching that around the holidays, so it's just really hard to push this one over the top of that one. But it does beat out If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? Another fantastic Riddler episode, and I think it's saying a lot that this one beats that episode out, because as you know, I'm a huge Riddler fan, maybe one of my favorite villains. So the fact that this one beats it out is saying something. But again, just there's so many great episodes in that top 10. It's going to be hard to pierce through some of those episodes. But I think we will. I think there's some episodes coming up that will punch through that top 10. I don't want to say that is my locked all-time top 10 episodes of the series yet. But we're getting close.
I suppose there's always room for one more. And I have a feeling we'll be seeing her again.
I wouldn't be at all surprised.
So, being the first appearance of Batgirl, let me know. What do you think of Batgirl? Do you think that this was a good introduction for her character into the series? Are there some other episodes that are coming up with Batgirl that you like better? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the like button. And if you're looking forward to seeing more episodes of Batman the Animated Series, then just hit the subscribe button. Again, with my new release schedule for this channel, I'll be coming out with the next episode, which is my review of the episode Mudslide, on this Thursday. So be looking for that. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Andy Knode, and I'll see you soon.